hiding under your bed. Teeth grown sharp and eyes glowing red.
Okay. The special Halloween episode that everyone's going to hear a week after Halloween. Let us bring you into the spooky times here in our spooky to-be-named podcast studios. Yes.
That's about as spooky as I can get, bro. I'm not a Halloween guy.
Episode 13 coming to you on Friday, October. We're recording October 29th, 2020.
Yes.
The world will hear it October 30th. So we're going to hear some. Well, they won't hear this till next week.
So like November
nights. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, this just gives them something to think about, Greg. But anyway, if they're here because
we're here to make you guys think. That's what we're here to do.
Studies show most people tune in to look at me because I'm handsome.
It could be true.
That
one's about it, and hear me blabber about some nonsense, but
and that's what we're here. But we're basically here to talk about video games, pro wrestling, and other such PVGA issues. Okay, issues within the PVGA, Greg. Because what the PVGA, Greg, it's an amalgamation. Folks, get your dictionaries out and Google me when I'm talking because I can't slow down for some of you that can't keep up. This is an amalgamation of pro wrestling, the drama, the over-the-top characters, and then it meets the pure esports of video games.
Some call it game-changing.
And I take that little dust that we make and I sprinkle it over all things entertainment. And we slowly take over the pro wrestling world as I've been slowly infiltrating into the Hollywood world for 12 years now, Greg. They've been keeping me out. You know what? All I got to say is all your base belong to us. Anybody out there that knows what that means or where that comes from, let me know.
Sounds like a mic drop there for a second. That was impressive.
Yeah. I am the current PVGA fighting champ. Jason Swinchock, JS Havoc. Make sure that A's a 4. To my left, the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh man, that's nice.
The ghost named Weasel.
The ghost named Weasel.
The ghost named Greg.
Gotta be like that though.
AKA the squirrel.
The squirrel?
AKA always digging around.
Am I at least a flying squirrel?
Huh?
Am I a flying squirrel at least?
I don't know what you are. I'll tell you the truth.
Flying squirrels are cool.
You know? So anyway, let's dig into these. Let's dig into these video games.
Yes. And I have something I want to get into about a little bit of the cyberpunk. We also have the new consoles coming out. What, Jason? Well, by the time this is out, probably they're already out.
They will be. And I want to be discussing. I this week just want to discuss my top or my 4 pre-orders that I have that I'll be playing by the time you hear this.
Oh, big facts. But and I want to shed some light on the idea that cyberpunk being pushed back for the 4th time. So I noticed a lot of people online were giving a lot of hate for it. And you're like, oh, now, I got to wait another, month to play the game. Hold the fuck on. If they're delaying a game a month because they want to make sure it's in crisp cream condition, like, wouldn't you prefer something that's going to be full rather than getting a game that you're going to play for like an entire day, find a whole bunch of bugs with, and the next day wake up for like a 30, 40 gigabyte update? Everyone needs to slow their roll.
Stop it.
Cyberpunk is going to be
what I've been telling the game industry for the last 5 years.
And if I can remember correctly, I'm pretty sure we discussed this on our podcast from before. But everyone needs to slow their roll because it's going to be a great game. Just let them have more time to develop. I'm sorry that I don't want to buy a game that's half complete and have to wait 3 days, 4 days to get a 60, 70 gigabyte update like every Call of Duty game known to man. Yes, I'm putting Call of Duty on blast because you guys' is crazy, fucking ridiculous updates that are anywhere from like 10 to 75 gigabytes is ridiculous, especially wherever these hard drives are only going on max at 2 terabytes. And you're going to have someone download a 200 gigabyte game, that's almost 30% of their hard drive. So if they're going to do something to better have the performance of the game, I'm all for waiting for it, and everyone else needs to calm their fucking brakes.
Yeah.
Pause.
Well,
it's going to be a great game. It's probably one of the best games going into late 2021 or early 2021. I'm sorry. Be patient. All good things, and this is what Jason tells me all the time, all good things come to those who wait.
Well, those that work. Okay, I say those that work, Greg. I don't say those that wait.
All comes good to those.
Patience is a part of hard work, though. For sure. And I want to talk about fanaticism on this show, and I believe that fanaticism in any form is bad. And I feel that what fucking overprivileged piece of shit person has the time to bitch about? This isn't a red light, folks. This is a yellow light. The fucking game is still coming. This is what Project CD Red does. This is what they do. You know why Americans can't handle it? Because it's a Polish company. Mm-hmm. All right. And they would rather it with pride be, and that goes into their product. And also that's The Witcher was also a Polish written story. So there was a lot of pride into that. So let it known that these developers are going to take this cyberpunk IP and it's going to be calm down. Exactly. In the end of the day, there's new systems. There is a lot. Look behind. Go pick out a game from your catalog. I just picked up Watch Dogs Legion today, and I didn't like any of them, but I'm going to give this one a chance. And I like the review that I heard on it. So, and you know what? The nice people at Target will price match Walmart right now at $49.99. Really? So I know you're a little mad and bitter. You're saying it's okay, folks. Let's wait because we have a lot to talk about, and I think let's sit down. Like, can we ruminate? Can we crack open these new PS5 games? Can we enjoy 2K 21 and Madden 21 for a little bit before we're clawing each other's eyes out for more?
I think you and I even discussed this maybe even a little bit prior. And whenever I first learned about the whole idea of Cyberpunk being pushed back, what you told me was good. Because if you think about it, that game was going to release November 17th. So that would have been 1 week after the next gens are out. Meanwhile, you have all those new gen games that come out. You still got people playing 2K like crazy people. Madden, as much as it's kind of hard to say, it is one of the highest grossing sports games in America. So obviously that's going to be one that everyone's going to want to see what's new, what's different between the PS4 version, PS5 version, Xbox One to Xbox Series X. So let the game just kind of take a second to have its own release date and be more concerned about Cyberpunk 2077 day rather than every other game and their cousin coming out a week after the console. So again, Cyberpunk fans, calm your tits.
Don't say that word, Greg.
Calm your ass.
Don't say the T word. Say if you want to say anything, say boobs. You classless bastard. Don't ever say the T word in this show. Boobs. My mom listens to this, you sicko.
Oh, sorry.
Jesus
sorry, Mama
Christ. I'm bleeping that out. To get started with what I got, I posted my pre-order 4 pre-order games for my PS5, and I'm getting notifications from Amazon that I'm actually going to get the games on the 12th, which will be fucking sweet. It's going to be officially PS5 day over here, Greg. If you want to hang out for 1 hour, I will let you come over. You're not going to sit on the nice new couch. You'll sit on the floor.
No, I got plans out there.
And I need you the night before the launch.
Yes, you do. I will be there.
The midnight release. I made
that a point that I will be there.
So if you
guys see us there, make sure you say hi.
Which which my 4 games are NBA 2K21. And after I know I've ranted on 2K for the last year.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about the 2K. I love that basketball system. I love how it plays. It plays like true basketball, and I really like it a lot.
I'll lock it.
I hate the I love the Ultimate Team. I hate the contracts.
Oh, I'm right now being a guy who does play Ultimate Team. These contracts are a motherfucker. I'll tell you right now.
I don't like that.
And the triple threat got even harder. So now I'm burning up more contracts. Like he can get my ass beat by the computer because my cards suck because they haven't released anything good yet because the Galaxy Opals won't come out for another 3 months.
Well, I love playing somebody and then they back out and you still lose the fucking contract.
Yeah, I love that too.
That's so I'm not really worried about Ultimate. I'll open my packs of cards and I'll dick around till my contracts are done and that's it. But I do want to see a next gen sports game. I really want to see what what we're capable of right now. And I'm excited to see that. Maybe I'll make my character and see how cool I look and on a PS5 native 4K day one. We'll see.
When I acquire a PS5, being someone who bought both the Madden and 2K game, that is something I'm very interested in too as well. Seeing how different it is from PS4 to PS5, just like Cyberpunk is, because apparently there's going to be some movements. Apparently they're making the aim stick more powerful. I'm hoping they don't I hope I can just use a regular square. I've been used to using square to shoot my shot for about 10 years now. So if I had to go out of my way to change it, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably just go find a new game.
I don't. I like the pull down and push up because it feels like it feels like you're throwing the basketball.
If that's the way,
and there's a touch to it.
But for somebody who's been doing it for 10 years, man, I'm not trying to fix something that's not broken.
Well, I think the big thing on those haptic responsive controllers is feeling that ball roll off the tip of your fucking fingers.
And
is what they're going to try to do. And
that's what they're trying to do.
So, but I'm sure you can, it's 2020. I'm sure you'll be able to change that around and go with your. They're not going to force it on you. And that's what I like. They don't force. The new controls are there to use, and the people that adopt to them dominate more.
Well, in 2K21,
you can't get your green star if you don't. Yeah. Roll your thing.
Well, the PS4 version, there was a point in time where they were honestly making it to where you had to use the shot control, or else you weren't making a goddamn shot at all. They finally switched it maybe a week or two after the game was released, and they switched it to where you can use a square or that, and there's no penalty or nothing because so many people complained about it so much. That's what I'm more worried about next gen. I'm worried about people going back and being like, no, this sucked again. So we'll see what happens because, like I said, if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. If you can work out a way to make that square button give you the same feel of releasing the balls as with the stick, I think a lot of people will stay with it. I know people who've been playing it for a long period of time, like myself. I know I personally probably, if I can't shoot the shot, I'm like, well, I guess I'm done playing 2K. I'll probably just go back to playing FIFA.
Yikes. Well, I think
it's just a personal thing. That's
I mean, I agree. Listen, if a game becomes not fun to play anymore, you should definitely stop playing it and not buy it. And speak with your dollars. Speak with your dollars, folks, and that's all we can do when it comes to consumerism because your opinion is as much worth as this.
I stopped playing NHL because it was costing me financially by spending $100 on packs where I've got next to nothing. And controllers that I would break because I would lose on some stupid slap shot from the blue line. But I've also can reference that when my conversation with AC Station. We had a good laugh about that.
Hopefully you can, learn from your past mistakes and move on. Now, my second game.
I haven't played NHL since.
The second game on my list is, I think, is the one that I'll probably delve into the most. Assassin's Creed Vikings, whatever it is. Valhalla, Viking. Building my Viking town. Can't effing wait for that. I get a ship again. I get a crew. I heard they'll sing the shanties, the old, so I'll dig that. And I don't think that's a hit and miss. I actually have a PS5 version coming. So
I know. Touch a little bit on that. I know whenever we first started the podcast, my brother was so adamant on. He's like, I need to come on the podcast and talk about this video game trailer. Sadly, we never got to the point where he could do it. But I know he was someone who, as soon as he seen the gameplay trailer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, he said, "Greg, this is going to be the next best Assassin's Creed game."
Yeah.
So I'll have maybe I'll get my brother to come review it, make him give a guest appearance on the podcast for the first time since May. So we'll see what happens when the time comes.
Yeah, I'm hit and miss with the Assassin's Creed series. I liked I liked Origins better than Odyssey. I think Odyssey got too complicated into things.
I think you're on record for saying that on the podcast as well.
Josh put the Valhalla on my radar, and I checked it out, and I was like, okay, I'm in. Game number 3 was Spider-Man Miles Morales,
which is a guarantee that you have to buy. It's almost a guarantee.
I love the Spider-Verse.
Me too.
I was a big fan of. Listen, some of my favorite parts in the new Spider-Man game were the Miles Morales tie-ins, and how eventually they're going to exist in the same universe. So I like it. It's a little bit of refreshing because his powers are different. He has electrical powers.
I didn't know that. It's
a little different style of gameplay. Oh yeah. He has innate electrical powers. The spider was an electrical spider that bit him.
I'll have to look. Well, it's funny because
depending on the Morales origin tale, but yes, an electric spider bit him.
I've always been like a Spider-Man guy for a long period of time. I recently just started collecting the Spider-Man comic books, and then when the game was released, I was like, well, this is just perfect timing. Started playing the game. It got me more lore on Spider-Man that I didn't know, because me personally, I'm going off the 1990s animated series they had on, what was it, like PBS Kids or whatever. That's the only lore of Spider-Man I knew was that. So I'm going through the comic books, I'm going through the game, I'm learning more and more. So, and I have Miles Morales #1. I haven't read it, but I'm actually excited because I won't have to really tear into a comic book that can be worth hundreds of dollars one day, and I get to play the game. So I'm thrilled. At first, I was a little sus of it because I'm a total Peter Parker guy. I love Peter Parker.
We know. We have the footage. Yeah, we know.
But
I would love the Miles Morales game, but I'd also like to see
Spider-Gwen.
A Spider-Gwen game. And this is actually the Gwenom issue, where even she has the Venom symbiote.
Yep.
She's actually one of my favorite versions of Spider-Man. And I know everyone will be like, well, Peter Porker, and I get it. It's cool too, but a lot of different versions of Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse, and they're all pretty cool.
I can say I don't have the first appearance of Gwen Stacy come up, but I do have the first clone Gwen Stacy appearance. Fun fact.
Yeah, I was kind of out of it. I don't know if she came in the Ultimate series. I kind of came in at the end of the Ultimate series again.
Well, actually, the comic book I have of her as a clone is like back in like the 80s.
Oh.
Yeah, it's I'll give you some lore about it off cam.
So that takes care of Spider-Man. It's gonna be there's another open world semi RPG beautiful game. Those games help my OCD, collecting everything, clearing out parts of the city, making it safe. Those help me. And then my last game, of course, is a game I have not seen any footage about. I was sold on the tagline, multiplayer looter slasher taking place in the medieval times, and that's Godfall.
Yep. That's I've been seeing a lot of hype over the last few weeks on Facebook and on Twitter, actually all over social media rather. So that's another one that Brandon Moran also suggested to me a while back. He said, watch out for this game. This game's going to be good.
And I'm going to tell you what, it's the only game out of the 4 that I have coming that I don't know how it's going to play. I know nothing about it, but I'm excited and I can't wait to play. It'll be like the first big, it is the first big console game for this generation. It's a co-op. So I and it's, swords and medieval sorcery and slashing people with swords. I mean, if that doesn't say Jason Swinchuk on it, I don't know what.
It's gonna be something interesting. I'm probably gonna wait to pick up. I want to probably have to read more about it. because me personally, when I purchase my PS5, I'm going to be all over probably playing 2K. And I might even go back and play, before I buy Miles Morales, I might play the complete remake of the original Spider-Man game. So
Yeah.
I mean, with the way they refine some things, I'd have to go look into it for sure. So
it's good. And so is Amazing Spider-Man 2 for the PS4. The first Spider-Man that came out. People overlook that Amazing Spider-Man series, but I like it.
Okay. I think I do remember that now. I was trying
So
to
the price skyrocketed on it when the new Spider-Man came out because everybody thought, the grandma's going, well, Johnny wants the Spider-Man. Oh, look, it's $10. Oh my. And it's the new one. It's part 2. So but since it's spooky October episode, Greg, I want to talk about some games that I've been thinking about that I've recently played and are pretty spooky in their own rights, and I think they all have something special to them, and I'm going to run through them real quick
because I'm personally not into scary games. I think Days Gone is probably like the scariest game I've played.
Guess what? Ding, ding, ding. That's number 3 I was going to talk about. So let's start there. I love the isolation of Days Gone. I love the hordes. I love the AI to those hordes.
Yes, for sure.
It does a really good job of making you feel closed off and making you and the connection to that motorcycle invaluable. And I don't know why Red Dead effing Redemption can't make a horse like the motorcycle in this game because your stuff don't fall. You know what I mean? Like, I just make it like this. Mm-hmm. Your motorcycle, all you gotta do is worry about gas, and that wasn't even really a big deal anyway. It's finding gas and all that, but great game. Another game we recently talked about, Death Stranding. If you take the actual story and take the beauty out of the game, it's that what is going on is absolutely horrifying. Without giving much away, I mean, we broke the world through time travel, basically. A network that traveled time opened up some doors and effed everything up. So I think that just for that is stuff is never specifically spoken in that game. It's just that happens. I think that's great. Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Remake 2. Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Those are great games. I've been on record saying that Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite remakes.
And the same beats along with those games come the Evil Within 1 and Evil Within 2. And Evil Within 2 is the first open world horror game that I've ever played. And boy, that's a great game too. But they all have that load you up, get you super intense, and put you in that situations where you walk away with no health, 2 bullets, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm done for the night. That's some good stuff. And then I tell you what, moreover, spooky, but having a good time with your friends is Friday the 13th. Any system that's on. Me and you missed the PVGA. We're all on the other night. Me, the Flagship, Pastry Kings, and well, someone you haven't seen yet either. You may have heard him, but you ain't seen him yet.
Dude, the Friday 13th game's neat, but I was more gravitated towards Dead by Daylight. I felt like that was a little more entertaining to me. And they're similar games, I feel. One's Jason, the other one's got a plethora of different killers you can choose from. So I think I was just more gravitated towards that. It seemed to be like just a little bit more for me, I guess. Plus, I got to see my favorite. I'm not a scary movie guy by any means, but my favorite scary movie guy, if I had to choose one, would be Ghostface. So I have him in that game.
Yes, we know as the people will learn to in the last episode going up that was the inspiration originally for Ghostface.
Oh yeah, so
you were Ghostface Greg. Yes.
So fun fact. For the second time in a row in 2 weeks. All right, Jason.
Anyway, that goes back to the rapper Ghostface Killer, who has his name because Ghostface are what KKK members, Ghostface. So, anytime you put Ghostface in your name on anything, you're a hard guy,
Also, Ghostface Killer was also a really good fighter to use in Def Jam Vendetta.
That's what I was going to go to, because he's awesome to use there.
Yep.
And I mean, I think he's a Wu-Tang Clan member, isn't he?
I want to say he is, but I cannot confirm that. I'm not going to confirm
that. So that's a couple scary games I want to throw out to everybody who, keeping it scary, but it's going to roll us. Unless you have any objections with video games, it is going to roll us right into some of my thoughts on wrestling.
Oh, I would love to get into a little bit of wrestling because Dynamite last night was a spicy meatball.
I didn't see any of it.
That's sad. That's sad to hear. But I will say it was a very good show because it showed off an inspiration for the shirt today.
Okay.
Because he will be facing Hangman Adam Page at Full Gear to see who gets the #1 contender shot for the AEW heavyweight title.
I have seen.
And that is going to be a spicy meatball. Because, Jason, do you know who he is facing?
No, who? Say that again?
Who Kenny Omega is facing at Full Gear?
Oh, yeah, he's facing Hangman Page.
Yes. And what is one thing that you and I have been pretty on point on this podcast saying about Adam Hangman Page and Senor Kenny Omega?
I don't know. Tell us. We say a lot of things.
We say a lot of things, but we say this is going to be a 1v1 match to watch. We've only been waiting for the breakup between the two of these cats for 2 months now. It's finally happened.
I mean,
we
for over a year.
And we also talked about this whenever I think the bracket was first released as well. We both predicted it was going to be Kenny versus Hangman in the finals because they got to end this doot-to-do, I'm going to call it, that they're having right now. Sorry, Barstool, for stealing your thing. But it's a doot-to-do that they're having with Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. So it's a good way to finish it off. I think it's going to be a hell of a good match. Very hard-hitting because though you didn't see it last night, Pentagon and him had a fantastic match where it was so hard-hitting. They were literally in the middle of the ring telling each other, slap them as hard as they can. And it was just so aggressive. It was such a Pentagon match. It was such a Kenny Omega match. And it was just – anytime I get to watch Kenny Omega be like the 5-star Kenny Omega, it's like watching Picasso paint a painting. It's that fantastic.
Yeah.
Plus, I wouldn't have it watching Pentagon's fantastic as well.
Yeah. After watching wrestling for as long as I have, I still see new things with the Bucks and Kenny Omega. So that's what entertains them most to me. Anything else record breaking happening in that world?
Well, we have a new NWA champion who was crowned the night before Dynamite. Serena Deeb beat Thunder Rosa for the belt. A lot of people over the internet are thinking Thunder Rosa is going to be signed with WWE or AEW, but also I read today on the reports that NWA says that she is under contract till 2021. So for her going anywhere else or all these people emailing her, just saying stuff online. NWA went on Twitter today and said that she is under contract till 2021. So be looking out for her. Plus, she's also still dabbling a little bit in AEW as well. I like to see her and Sheeta go at it one more time. So
she also has her own promotion that she owns with her husband.
Yep.
And so that's she's got a full-time gig, and her promotion is really focused on it's a different form of it's a women's wrestling organization. However, it's focusing and teaching the women to learn the business and the promotion side so they can be their own bookers and tell story and learn the insides and the business sides of wrestling, not just the performance side.
Exactly.
So anytime anybody can learn a little bit more about something, I'm all for it, especially when you're moving it in-house and programs like that. Build the wrestler and build the business around the wrestler. That's what I try to knock into that Johnny Patch's head, but boy, he's as stubborn as any other knucklehead in Fredericktown, and I know them all, So
it's Serena Deeb, the former Straight Edge Society, I don't know what you would call them. What's the word I'm looking for?
Faction.
I don't want to say faction. I want to say like minion. The Straight Edge Society minion that they had, and then pretty much got an ignorant run. I'm going to say ignorant meaning not knowing is what WWE had in Serena Deeb. For them being so ignorant of how great of a wrestler she is, she goes off and does so many other things overseas, and ended up going and winning an NWA title. And I believe that she did sign with AEW, I want to say. I think I've actually been on this show talking about Serena Deeb signing with AEW, but they also said Thunder Rosa signed with AEW. But now I'm hearing that she's under contract till 2021. I'm here, so I'm just going by what I read on social media and what I read and what my sources tell me. So I'm excited. I watched the Serena Deeb versus Layla Hirsch match last night. It was actually really entertaining for a women's match. So props to her. Best luck to her in NWA.
I want to congratulate you on your correct use of the word ignorant.
Thank you.
Because most 90% of the people that use that word are ignorant of its true meaning. They think that it's meaning rude. Where I come from, there's a version of that word. It's just called ignorant, where I don't even know if that it's just IGNERNT. I think ignorant.
Yeah,
and that means you're
like
rude. And when people use that word incorrectly, my skin fucking crawls when they do it.
Agree. No,
and it started crawling when you said it, and I just been in awe. I haven't heard a thing you said since you managed to say ignorant correct. Like, look, in a week, dude, you got your license, you put up your own show with Austin. Now you're spelling, and you're learning up new definitions and shit.
I think I opened up the dictionary and I was like, oh, what's this new word?
Then you might have your little boy coming down there from your Barstool show, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Well, if this fuck knows anything that's good for him, he should sign you up for a fucking couple mil. And if he doesn't, send him my way. I'll put the little prick in a headlock.
Hey, you know
what I mean? I'll put him right here. I'll put it. Listen, tell your boy if he doesn't, I'll make a stool right here. And every time we go to the show, I'll make him come here and sit in that stool. And he'll eat crackers the whole time and be my little parrot. And you want to talk?
And I don't want to change subjects real quick, but if we honestly.
We did change subjects on that. Anyway,
with the direction that the PVGA is going, Dave Portnoy will take notice of this and see how entertaining it is, and I bet you any money he would be interested. That's how good of a product we have.
Greg, let me just tell you about how much of a good product we have. There's not been an investor or money man that's ever said, boy, that's a bad idea. No, they all go, ooh. I want to talk about some scary gimmicks since it is Halloween. Let's talk about some scary gimmicks over the years.
You want to do like a top 5 list between the two of us? Because I can.
Well, I'm older, so I'll start.
Okay, you start with 5, and I'll give you my 5.
The first wrestler, and let me tell you something. I was just on the cusp of being maybe a little too old to be scared of him.
So to be fair, you're going from 5 to 1, right? You're not going from 1 to 5.
I'm going from oldest in my life to newest.
Okay.
You do whatever you want on your list.
I'm doing a 5 to 1. I'm doing a 5 to 1.
Greg, do whatever you want. I'm telling you, the first time I saw something scary, and I'll tell you this much. I was on the verge of not being scared, but the Macho Man, when he was the Macho King and Sherry was kind of a witch and they had Zeus and Zeus was like, yes. They were over like a cauldron and I'm like, is he like an evil witch king now or something? That was the first time I was like, whoa. But I just remember being old enough to go, this is kind of corny, but Macho can do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Macho's a scary guy.
So that was kind of creepy scary to me.
I would have to say, as far as my top 5 scariest people, I'm going to go number 5 was Kane. Whenever Kane came out being the burnt brother, and came out that night, and I believe he started doing the whole Undertaker gimmick where he's under the ring, like bringing people in. Man, that was it. Plus, has a mask on, so being a early '90s kid, late '90s when he kind of debuted, man, that was a scary sight to see, man. Now it wasn't as scary as my number 1, but Kane has to be up there. It's probably one of the scariest gimmicks alive.
I'll tell you my next one that I remember being scary was The Undertaker when he first debuted. Now, when he first debuted, no one knew he didn't have the legacy. Now, when you were when you already saw, you probably reacted to Kane like I did the Undertaker, because Kane,
Yes.
I was already in like a senior maybe or in college at the time, and when Kane debuted, so I was like, okay, this
You
is
knew the
Undertaker.
business at this
Yeah,
point,
I
yeah.
wasn't afraid of him, but the Undertaker when he first came, I just remember him being not so much afraid, but like unstoppable. Like he didn't take pain, he didn't sell. I mean, he sold, but he got right back up. Like he was like a zombie, and like it was creepy how he followed Paul Bear. That and like, listen, I watched Tombstone Hulk Hogan, and I watched kids smaller than, like, younger than me crying when Hogan got tombstone on that chair. Jake the Snake snuck that chair. Or was when maybe Flair did that. I can't.
I think it was Jake the Snake, if I'm not mistaken. I think I remember watching. I think they highlighted it in the Undertaker documentary. I believe
Snake was the first person he beat. At WrestleMania, he put Snake down.
So my number 4. And going back, I'm torn between two people, but I'm gonna say the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman coming out looking all wild and crazy, and this is like early 2000s. So this is past Jason Swinshock's. You know, okay, I know what this is. I know what the kayfabe is.
You don't have to say that because everybody my age right now is going, he was silly. He's an idiot.
But the guy coming over, smashing over his head over with a clock, eating worms, like it was scary. And granted, I was a little bit older at the time, so I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, not scary. But like my brother, he was like, ooh, this guy, stay away from me, Mr. Boogeyman. Plus, he had the name the Boogeyman, which is already scary itself. So I would have to go with Boogeyman as my number 4. I wanted to make him 3, but I think my third one's a little bit more scarier.
I want to say, and I don't know their names, but I want to say then like Scary Steve was in the group. Who was the evil group? And like Rosemary was in the group. They like attacked the Hardy compound in like one of the like earlier deletion epic cinema matches. And like Rosemary blew smoke and like them green mist, and Matt sucked it up and spit it back to her. Like whatever that group was, and it was like Scary Steve and creepy Rosemary. Those guys were good. I liked them. They were scary. They were creepy.
Well, I had to burp, but it didn't want to come out. So my number 3, and this is probably entitled to you because you were a WCW guy. Kevin Sullivan was a really scary dude. Like with the black paint on top of here, with his it was the Legion of Doom or Legion of
Dungeon of Doom.
Dungeon of Doom. I'm sorry, Dungeon of Doom. But it always made me think of Legion of Doom because I was such a comic book nerd. So that's how I always got him confused. So I kind of thought of him as, you know, like the head of the Legion of Doom. So, and he had Big Show, aka the Giant. He had fucking Kamala. He had all these big brute guys. Granted,
Yeti. He had
Yeti. He had the Mummy.
The Yeti that dressed like the Mummy.
Yeah, he had the Mummy for a week.
Yeah, they had the Shark. He had Brutus the Barber, Shark, Zodiac.
He had the Natural Disaster.
Was the Shark.
Yep.
Yeah, so there was a lot of. They were definitely the Dark Order before the Dark Order. Like
very much so. And like I said, I wasn't so much of a WCW guy. When I seen those guys come across the screen, I'm like, you guys are weird, and I don't like any of you. Also, Nancy Benoit was also a member of the Legion, Dungeon of Doom as well.
Well, before Benoit stole her in the Four Horsemen Legion or Dungeon of Doom storyline, then which we all know might have been that he might have booked his own divorce, aka we've learned from that Wrestling with Shadows. Yes. But Kevin Sullivan, smart man, smart wrestler, smart booker, also one of the main bookers of the NWO and one of the creators of the NWO storyline. So, you know, Kevin Sullivan, you know.
Kevin Sullivan, number 3 creepiest wrestler.
Creepy, yeah.
Or scary.
My next creepy is there was a guy named Mantar, and everyone saw he had the big bull helmet.
Oh yes,
the big bull thing. And I remember him coming out, and I was just like, it was eerie, like seeing him on Saturday morning cartoon or Saturday morning wrestling, like, what is this thing? And it'd be like, his music would do that. I'd be like, oh god.
And he was also a part of a Jim Cornette faction for a week as well. I was watching something about that.
Well, Cornette brought him. Cornette managed him. He was definitely under
he managed him for like
Cornette's charge.
Yes, he managed him for a week, and then he came up with oh, I hate gimmicks, this, that, and the other, and Mantar was no more on the fucking Jim Cornette faction, whatever that shitty faction that was, because Jim Cornette's a fucking asshole. But that leads me to my number 2 most creepy. Facts are facts. I don't come here to sugarcoat things. I tell it how it is. So my number.
Hey,
2,
we get it, Greg.
My number 2.
Let us beg you for mercy. Don't turn your mighty scopes towards us, buddy.
Yeah, it's Bray Wyatt or the Fiend. You can even go with the Fiend because this guy comes out there doing turning the lights off, popping up out of nowhere, kind of like a modern day Undertaker. So for the fans who are just now getting in the wrestling, who watch WWE, seeing him, man, I could see them being as afraid as the Fiend as I was of the Undertaker, as Kane and Boogeyman as a child. So I have to throw him up there as one of the number 2 probably creepiest / scariest people in wrestling today. And
I would say the Wyatt family. Yeah, I'm gonna put the Wyatt family up there next. I paid no attention to the demon version, Mr. Nice Guy or whatever. I don't care. I was gone by that, so I don't care anything about it. The Wyatt family was like one of the last, and that like is not even enjoyable because we never really got to see that to its full potential. So, but the Wyatt family, great, creepy. We're here, blow the the lights, great stuff. The
urn.
Yeah,
or not the urn,
not the urn, but he had his rocking chair, and now Sister Abigail.
Well, now
it should have been her.
Yeah,
it should have been her. 2-3 years ago, we wanted her to be the Sister Abigail. So I don't know.
And on top of that, he has probably one of the coolest finishes, realistically, because that move, like whenever they hit it, you feel like the life just left from that person's body as well. Which also brings me up to my number 1 creepiest and scariest wrestler of all time. The guy who had probably the most wild moveset, one that Jason labeled number 4, as far as the creepiest, the Undertaker. The Undertaker for me was always the creepiest because I was an early 90s kid. So I didn't see him debut, but I do remember vaguely, clear as day, and it still creeps me out from time to time, the time that he put Stone Cold Steve Austin on the cross on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
At that moment, I was forever scared of the Undertaker until I think he went to American Badass Undertaker. But I was like, I do not want to be around him. My dad resembled him a little bit when I was younger as well.
Jeez.
So I was afraid of my dad because I was afraid of the Undertaker.
Explains a lot of things.
So
let me mark that down here.
So the Undertaker is one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers ever, but top 10. I'm sorry, top 10 favorite wrestlers ever, because my top 5 I go through, I change it every week. But he's definitely one of my top 10 favorite wrestlers ever. Also, one of the wrestlers who, when I got into the business, was like, this is why I love it. Also, with the Tombstone Piledriver being as devastating as it was, the Chokeslam being as awesome as it was, and then you also have one of my favorite moves the Undertaker has is old school, where you got this big 6'8", 6'10" guy just running on the ropes for a couple seconds and dropping down your arm. Did it look like it hurt? Absolutely not. But it was still great to watch.
Let's just say carefully walking. Carefully walking.
It was, at the time, it was something different that a lot of fans weren't seeing. Again, big guy walking on a rope. It was cool.
Yeah. Cool. The Undertaker, it is what it is there. I don't have any more other people in my creepy list. Unless you want to count the Heavenly Bodies, the Jimmy Gigolo Del Rey.
Or Blue Meanie.
What's that?
Or Blue Meanie.
Blue Meanie.
Blue World Order is coming through on the top 5 creepiest / scariest people.
Greg, anything else in the wrestling home front before we move on?
No, I do want everyone, and I know we didn't really talk about it too much, but November 7th, Homecoming, IWC. Make sure you guys check out. It's going to be in Elizabeth, PA. Make sure you guys check it out. It's going to be a great
closed indoor event.
Yep.
Back up.
First one. They're going to have
events. So
I think they're having like
well for them.
I think I have a 25% capacity, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I know
and
they don't
then
have it on Full House, but
there's a huge match for the high stakes belt, I think.
yep, there's a match for the high stakes belt. I think it's a 4-way match, and then you have Jack Pollock versus Andrew Palace to see who gets a chance at Jock Sampson's IWC heavyweight title.
Yeah, random generic face 1 versus random generic face 2.
No,
Well, might as well throw Bill Collier in there too. Have a triple threat, and feed him to the goat, and let him just elevate anything he touches.
Yeah, well, I want Andrew Powell to get a chance, and I'm hoping he can reclaim his IWC Heavyweight Championship because the Spasmanian Devil is a wild card, and he's a fucking beast.
Okay, you've heard.
Although he does ignore me after every show.
Huh?
He does ignore me after every show.
Greg, you have more followers than 90% of that roster. So if anybody should big dog anybody, it should be you. So let's never forget that. Okay, let's not forget.
Yeah,
who you are. One last thing I want to talk about before we do move to PVGA business is Jericho and MJF.
Ooh. Now, this is a storyline that I kind of seen coming. But at the same time, I thought it was going to be more so MJF trying to push Chris Jericho out of the inner circle rather than him just trying to be a part. I think what it's going to lead to, and I've been putting my Sherlock Holmes to the idea that I think Sammy Guevara some way somehow is going to fuck MJF out of this match. I feel like some way somehow he's going to interfere. He's going to hit MJF with something. Chris Jericho's going to get the win 1, 2, 3 because none of them want.
Well, then Jericho's going to let him in anyway and get rid of Sammy. Sammy also might have joined the Dark Order.
Yes,
Sammy was at their Halloween party.
Well, so was Cody Rhodes, though. Oh, no, he wasn't.
No, Cody Rhodes.
I'm thinking of something different. Never mind.
Yeah, this was on this week.
That was Private Party.
Private Party wasn't allowed in.
No, I'm talking about the Private Party was the bit they had the week prior to that, and that's when they had Cody Rhodes and all them in there.
Yeah, so who knows with that? But I think I've never. Let me tell you something. In this again, 41 years on this planet, I've never seen two pro wrestlers break out into a song, sing it like a show tune, a la Family Guy or any kind of sitcom. For years, I wanted to write a musical episode to my web series, Duncan Street Chronicles, but I have not. I could never write a song like that. And I wouldn't want to spend the time because if my brain starts thinking I gotta write a song, I'm gonna have to fucking write music now. I don't need that. Everybody, I'm releasing a CD. Please don't let that switch turn on. But I've never seen that kind of entertainment, and everything's not for me and everything's not for you. Everyone needs to understand that. I don't know if it was for me. Did I have a smile on my face and was I like, this is unbelievable? Yeah. Here's what I know, though. Was it entertaining? Yeah. Have I ever seen anything like it? No. So sometimes new needs a little bit of time to.
I'm actually really happy you brought this up because my buddy Anthony, who I haven't hung out with a while.
Who's Anthony? Who's Anthony?
You ask me this every time.
Okay.
But he stopped over the other day. We were sitting around bullshitting. First time we hung out since the whole COVID outbreak. So it would happen to be a night wrestling was on. So I'm watching.
Guys, careful. Did you wear masks?
We did. We were playing Pokemon and wearing masks. Yes.
At whose house?
At my house.
At your Grams.
in my apartment. Yes.
That your roommate's your Gram. Yeah, your apartment that you share with your Gram.
I do not. Anyways, so we're sitting around, we're carrying on, we're playing some Pokemon, and I have wrestling on, and he's never watched AEW wrestling before, and he's checking it out.
Why would you hang out with this guy? He sounds like a snore.
So one of his first segments he's seeing, and he's getting ready to leave, and he sits down because the MJF Chris Jericho segment's going on. And me and him are looking at each other back like, what the fuck is happening? What is going on? This isn't wrestling. But I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Yeah.
So whether I liked it or not, my eyes were still on that screen. I watched every second of it till the end because I'm waiting for something to happen or like a brawl to break out or something. But it was just the musical. I felt like I was watching Grease for the first time in a couple years.
I was on the phone with Josh after sitting on I-70 traffic for 2.5 hours coming home from hanging out with my brother-in-law in Greensburg. And when I got home, it was like 8:30. I'm trying to catch up, and I'm on the phone with Josh, and I'm getting they're at the hospital because his son's on the way. And I'm getting the breakdown plan, like, what's going on. And I'm like, Josh, I don't mean to interrupt any fucking thing you're saying here because it's all really important, but do you have access to a television right now? And I'm like, I don't know how to say this, and I've only had 2 puffs of my medicine since I've been home. I go, MJF and Chris Jericho are fucking singing show tunes together, dancing around the television.
Yeah.
It might be the most brilliant thing ever.
Oh, by far.
And he and we said, yeah, we got to go. And he said, okay, I got to watch it right now. And that's it. That was it.
No feedback though, or anything.
With what? Yeah, he had his son, his new son's.
No, I'm talking about
his name's Jason. They just spelled it JAXSON, and I'm just telling the world the X is silent. So just call him Jason.
I did want to say congratulations to Josh on the podcast. That is awesome that you got your firstborn son.
Oh, that's awesome. He didn't do anything. You know what I mean? I was the moral support the whole time. Did he call you?
No, but I did text him twice.
Did he call his reverend? He was on the phone. He was calming the situation down, giving the live advice. This guy. I've delivered many. Greg.
Anyway, I love my EVP, and he gets all the praise in the world because he does a damn good job, and he's going to be a damn good father.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because you kind of like want him to be like, he's your like son or like your dad friend.
Being that he's like,
you're like his son friend,
and
he's like your dad friend.
He's more like a brother.
You guys I think you're like more like his son friend.
Yeah. I mean, if that's how he sees it, I guess. But
yeah, I think that's it.
Either way, I'd like, well, fuck you. You know what? Whatever. I'm never complimenting you ever again. Well, I should know better than that. I should know better than not to compliment the champ because he just makes it spin circle on me. And not
complimenting me just triggers something in everybody's minds that they're like, oh, but then he doesn't tell me thanks, and I really like his approval too. And I really like when he tells me thanks. So you'll come back. Listen, you'll come crawling back to give me a compliment sooner or later.
I probably will because you are a good friend.
I'm the first son of a bitch on this planet that's gotten consecutively more handsome every year I've been alive. Huh?
I wish I could say the same.
Face of a 40-year-old man, and look at me.
I just get chunkier.
Whew, you know what I mean?
I know your hair is looking good.
It's fire, man. I got that Macklemore. I got that Macklemore start. Look. We're going to take it. Me and my barber's got a plan. We're taking it back, and then eventually we're going to disconnect it. But we're training it to go back.
You get you a video going into a Goodwill, going to the thrift shop, getting yourself something nice. It looks good. Yeah.
So what do you want to discuss? We want to wrap this up and call it a day. It's already late.
I'm pretty sure we are going to call it a day because I think we're out of topics.
We are out of time. There's not much going on in PVGA. I wanted to say good job to you and AC Station. Always rounding up. Very much. Boy, he's a butt kiss with those fans, huh? You could, Greg, look at me. Greg, look at me right here and look at the camera.
I'm looking right at you.
Huh? Hey.
I'm looking at you. I don't know which one I'm supposed to look at anymore.
I don't know either, but look up. Hey. What a butt kiss, huh?
It was a pleasure. He took time out of his day to have a sit-down conversation with me for like 20, 30 minutes, and it was great to learn a little bit more about AC Station, give me more knowledge of him as a person. And I have nothing for the best. Jason's going to go ahead and say he's a butt kisser. I don't think he was that. I think he was a company man doing what the company man does.
Well, that's because you're a butt kisser too.
So I probably
a butt kiss of a butt kiss is going to be a butt kiss. All right. You two have a butt kiss baby is basically what I'm saying.
When you're passionate and you love something enough, you're not afraid to admit it.
And I love winning and being handsome. So there's my two things. And I'm not, I'm not sacrificing or compromising any of that for anyone.
So I got a question. I got a question for you though. Did you bring any pizza?
I'm 5-1. in 2020. No
That's
one
nothing to do
else
with
is
the
close to 6 matches. Me.
What about the pizza?
Let me tell you about the pizza. I just finished up before we got on. I was gonna bring you some for lunch today,
Oh, I wish you would have. That'd be great.
but then I thought, fuck him.
We'll just go together.
You know what I mean? Is he working on what I asked him to fucking work on? No. You know what I mean? You know, so fuck him. You know what I mean? Did anybody bring you pizza today? Anybody else you're working with?
No, I actually had to go get my own pizza.
Yeah, I had their pizza. It was pretty damn good.
Okay.
I wanted to try it. I heard. I tell you what, there's a lot of things I liked in it, and I even reheated it up, and it was good. But the champ likes I like a large pizza with extra cheese and pepperoni, not extra pepperoni. So I should say I like a large pizza with pepperoni and extra cheese.
Yes,
is what I like. But he uses the smaller pepperoni that like curls up and makes those little cups.
Curl and crisp, yeah.
That makes the little cups of grease that are good. I like.
Yeah, they call them curl and crisp pepperoni.
Curl and crisp. There you go.
Knowledge.
I tell you what, people can plug into this podcast and just learn.
Look, people underestimate my brain. I had a guy yesterday say, Greg, I don't realize how smart you actually are until you start talking.
I think you might have messed that up, kid.
No, I didn't. That's what he told me. He's like, you honestly, if I said,
I told you, everybody I meet says ditch it. Hey, who's that idiot? Get rid of him. And I go, listen, he's very smart. You know what I mean? I never say you're very smart. I just say you're good at what you do.
I'll take that.
I don't know. I don't really know what you do, and I don't think you know what you want to do yet. But I think we're slowly figuring it out where your place is in the world.
We're getting
together.
We're getting to it further and further every day.
You know, but we're getting there. Because listen, it's a climb. You know, it's a climb.
Hey, I'm in the front seat of my car that I can actually drive now, and I'm looking at the rear view mirror. It's like, damn, remember all that?
Yeah, you know what? And now you're and you're gonna bring me to another great topic before we can skimp on the PVGA business. Everyone keep up to date. Facebook.com/Pro Video Game Alliance. You can go there. You're also gonna be seeing some advertisements from us pop around these towns, and they're all gonna be fully interactive. You can actually hold your camera up to our posters, and you'll be taken right to the action on your phone immediately. So that's hot. That's very hot.
Hot fire.
You know?
Hot fire.
And then that was it. What else I was going to say, Greg? I think that was it.
I think you were telling me how awesome I am.
No, I was going to wrap it up with I want to talk to everybody about this. I'm right now currently listening to a book by Matthew McConaughey called Greenlights. Read this shit. Anybody get out there. I like to listen to podcasts when I'm doing work and I'm just messing around and doing things. I like to listen to something. And I like Audible because if you do miss something, they have a button you hit and it takes you 30 seconds back. Yep. And I tell you what, this book is an amazing. Anybody that wants to be, not just so much inspired, but just schooled on, no one's perfect. And let's learn from these mistakes and move forward and tell some great stories, learn the difference between liars and bullshitters and why it's better to hang out with bullshitters and liars are no good for your life. Because I'm a good bullshitter, Greg. You know what I mean? That's just natural. But it's a really good book. Mr. Matthew McConaughey, he's a fucking nut, but maybe also a genius. So I want to, tell everybody that's what is inspiring the champ right meow.
Fun fact about Matthew McConaughey, he's one of my top 3 favorite actors.
There it is. Who's the other 2? You don't watch movies.
Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey.
You said actors, correct?
Yes.
I don't know if Adam Sandler and Matthew McConaughey are even in the same league.
No, they are. They're the same actors.
Do you think Adam's a fine actor though, or does he play the same? Has he been Happy Gilmore in every movie he's ever been in?
No, not at all. Happy Gilmore was a psychotic weirdo.
Yeah, he's either Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison.
No, because if you think about him in
because his movies are lazy. Now he's just his last 50 movies. He's just been himself.
What about
all
Big
his
Daddy?
Friends?
What about Big Daddy? No, I can't say that. Adam Sandler Adam Sandler movies have always had a real good place in my heart because Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore are two of my favorite movies ever. They only fall underneath The Godfather because The Godfather is so fucking good.
All right, folks. Well, to wrap it up, there you have it, folks. You can find Greg and how he's going to break down the best acting. Greg's top 3 lists. Find him. He's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the YouTube. Ghost named Greg. Go find him.
I am not ghost named
Learn
Greg.
more about his great actors according to Greg. Are you ready for this list, folks? It is Matthew McConaughey coming in 3rd. Seconded by the Billy Madison himself.
No, second.
Adam Sandler. Huh?
Second's Jim Carrey.
Second's Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you what, Jim Carrey, now that's a stinking, really good dude there.
Well,
Psycho.
We'll
talk about Jim Carrey next time because I want to get in The Man on the Moon. And a lot of inspirations I take from Jim and I take from Andy Kaufman. Sometimes the champ does shit just to get a reaction to let people know I control a situation. And I've always, when I saw Andy Kaufman, I was like, wow, I get it. Sometimes you got to make the joke on everybody else and not let people know what's real and what's fake. And that's why guys like me, you, and all the friends we know, that's why we like to watch wrestling. We like to go, ooh, I know this is fake, but that was real. That's what we like to do. That's why people come to the PVGA, because they can see good matches, but they're also going to see over-the-top characters. They're going to see heroes in masks. They're going to see narcissistic, villainous champions who will stop at nothing to get so anybody takes the belt from their clutches. You know, you're going to have mad rednecks named the Pastry Kings who run around with their shirt off.
Ooh.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Ricochet.
But, I think he would take that as a compliment. I really do. But, I think that's what people love. That's why we love video games. It's escapism, because 8 to 10 hours at work, folks. Come home, take care of your shit, and then, you know what? Head on out into the void. Head on out into the realm where we're at, you know? There's going to be a code inside in the gaming world, Greg. We will bring peace to the world through gaming, through sheer force.
We will for sure, because that is the power of the PVGA, and we're capable of just about anything.
You're right, Greg. All right, that was Ghost Named Greg. I am your #fighting champion, JS_Havoc, Jason Swinchock, signing off. Salutations. Greg, give him one punch right there. Pow. And I'm going to tell you, that was
that's not a shot at Pastry King either.
That's a game
over.